Whether it's a powerful opera, a dazzling stage play, or colorful comic book characters, someone has to come up with the vision for these works of art, and that's what these men do. Hear their stories next. On the move, changing perceptions, pushing limits. Today's Africa is not framed by the past. A new generation is stepping up, embracing tradition while blazing a new path, giving voice to unique style, connected in ways others before were not. This is where the urban pulse meets creativity and a new culture thrives. This is African Voices.
I write classical music with an African twist. There's so much destruction and negativity in the world. It's nice to be a creator. Music is, I think, the most amazing source of solace ever. My Africa is creative, my Africa is original and full of ideas. My name is Bongani Ndodana-Breen. I'm a composer from Cape Town in South Africa. I was born in the Eastern Cape, in Queenstown, which is a very curious city, actually, because it was a very musical city in South Africa. My great aunt, who was my grandmother's sister, I remember her lifting me up and putting me up on the piano, and I didn't know what this thing was, black and white keys messing around. But it just seemed to be something I was very much drawn to, and of course I took it up at school. I went to St. Andrews in Grahamstown, where I did piano, played in the orchestra, and I think they unleashed this evil on the world by allowing me to compose, and I haven't stopped ever since.
Mrs. Mandela, Mrs. Mandela.
Bongani now has dozens of commissioned works in his catalogue, like this inspirational piece. Winnie's opera, based on the life of the late Winnie Mandela, was a passion project for the composer.
Winnie's life, it's an extraordinary one, and what she went through is just heartbreaking, but also the strength that was behind that, and the defiance and speaking truth to power for over 3 decades, 27 years, that the world did not hear about Nelson Mandela. There was one woman who was hell-bent on making sure that this man had the chance to run this country. That had to be kept alive, and she did it.
Bongani is now working on a closely related project, one that will take him to an unlikely place.
So we're here in Minnesota after traveling across the Atlantic. This is the big day. This is the morning before we go in and watch the birth of this incredible piece, and I think this is basically the highlight of the journey.
This new work called Harmonia Ubuntu is based on some speeches and writings by Nelson Mandela. One of the things about Nelson Mandela is a lesson in courage, but also the courage to stand up for our common humanity. In that, or the spirit of Ubuntu, that one's humanity is linked, to the humanity of others. So we explore that a great deal in the work.
Oh wow, this is quite something.
This is like an extraordinary way of engaging with the audience, telling them about the culture that the music is actually rooted in. I get to hear my music for the first time, being conducted by Maestro Osmo Vanska, who has won a Grammy, actually, with this orchestra. So I get to see him in action this morning, and let's see, how much of the African stuff he can get out of the orchestra. That'll be interesting.
After months of hard work, Bongani will now get to hear the words he put to music come to life for the very first time. The piece is led by a powerful South African soprano. Bongani listens intently, taking mental notes.
Because I can't hear the rhythmic definition, because I don't know what rhythm is being played here.
31, just in the bass drum, if we can have something that is much more clearer and crisper. I mean, I think that you can just try and do something that. Yeah, that has more character, that. And these guys are so good that they actually manage to keep it together.
Vanska chose Bongani's work out of several other African composers. This production is part of a tour the Minnesota Orchestra has brought across South Africa.
It's technically a very difficult piece for the organ. It's a lot of fast notes there and rhythms which are like, in a way, controversial. They are like different patterns, but when we can play them really together, then it gives this kind of nice dancing feeling.
This is new for these musicians in terms of cultural tradition. You know, this is not the usual stuff that they play. It's going to come together very nicely tonight. Well, it's T-minus 15 minutes till the world premiere. So everything leads up to this moment, I guess. A year's work of hard work and very nervous.
Welcome to the Music for Mandela series created by the Minnesota Orchestra. Let's give this orchestra and the choir a round of applause.
The performance went so well that Bongani received 2 curtain calls.
To be creating things, to be adding rather than subtracting to the human experience and to human knowledge, and to somehow be providing comfort and solace. That gives me great joy as a composer.